it's true that there's like one person who's sort of rich and famous, they're blowing up, and then there's this entourage or these people who orbit them. And so this happens a lot in America, is that one person blows up and then all these sort of leeches, I was one of them,
Welcome back to the Sharehouse podcast. I'm Mikey D. I'm joined by my best friend in the entire world, Joel Harris. And today we have someone that's taking their career to new heights. They were on Jimmy Fallon, but now they've decided to go even further and be on the Sharehouse podcast. They also have a book called The One Night Stand, Simon Taylor, thank you for being here.
Your next best friend in the whole entire world!
Let's go. Thank you for coming.
How does it feel shaking hands with Fallon and then shaking hands with us?
Oh,
It's
man.
huge.
I mean, Fallon's got nothing on you guys.
We know.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't have a heater in the green room.
No.
You guys have got it all.
I saw you shivering on stage there. That was
exactly.
crazy.
I was cold back there. This is the best.
What was the green room like? Give us that insight. We don't want to know about Jimmy Fallon.
They had different themed green rooms.
Gotcha.
So I think I got the Aviary. It was like a bird themed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So live birds?
No, that's
Did you bring COVID on?
No, you have to bring your own bird. No. Yeah, it was cool. I think it was just like so nervous ahead of time, but he came and said hello.
Cool.
Which he didn't have to do. He had Michael Cera there. I'm like, why are you hanging out with me? Go hang out with Superbad.
Eddie Maguire didn't even say bye to us when we were on Millionaire Hot Seats. So that's the levels we're rocking with. Jimmy Fallon is a good man.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Compared to our fame up there, huh?
Yeah.
Even on Jimmy Fallon's stage, you told a lot of jokes about how we can't really be part of our parents' generation of owning homes. They're kind of gatekeeping that from us.
Yeah.
With your success, have you found the way into the housing market?
No.
Well,
it's a discussion I had with my wife. It's like, listen, we could probably buy a house, but where? It's not going to be anywhere close to my family.
Diggers Restaurant.
Like, just the idea of like owning a home as this glorious like concept of like, yes, it's an achievement. I own a home in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that exciting. It's about owning a home in a equitable area, like a convenient area, a place where your family is, where you can actually go to work. But yeah, we could live 3 hours out of Melbourne in a ranch. But so what?
Yeah.
So, like, the idea of owning your home is not enough. I think it's like, it's got to be within your social network.
Yes.
We're just going to be a recluse in...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb to think, just get on the ladder, get on the, own a house somewhere, live there for a year and then move out. And it's just like, why are we playing this game of... Oh, you got to buy here and live there for a year to get the first home buyers thing and there's stamp duty, but then you just do... It's like, what? This is not Monopoly. Can we please just make this simple?
It's like a lifetime plan to do with something that I'm just not passionate in. Like, I'm not passionate about owning homes. I just want to live in a nice place.
Oh, well, no, it doesn't even have to be that nice. It's just got to be, can I get to work and can I see my family?
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
If I can be within 30 minutes or just past, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was living an hour and a half from family for quite some time.
Yeah.
And that
where
was
are you going to
hell.
eat?
Yeah.
I think it is a bit of an outdated, romanticized idea to like live in a luxurious place hours away that people come to you for.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like what is that? Like, you are just kind of out in the middle
you got to
of
be
nowhere
pretty
alone.
charismatic for people to come all the way to you.
Your house has a water slide at the back for sure. Just
100%.
fluidity.
You got to be better than whatever's on streaming right now. Because I'm not leaving my house to come to your house just because you got like a pool table. Like, yeah, I got a pool table, like, at the Red Triangle in Brunswick. It's fine.
And they've got to have
I'll go to that,
exclusive DVD release of the new Simon Taylor special to get them out there.
But it was funny though. Like, did you ever have like a friend who had a pool table or a swimming pool or something? It's just like that was a house you always wanted to go to.
100%.
But how far out before you're like, it's not worth it?
It depends how many ripsticks they owned. If they had more than 2 ripsticks and we could all ride one around.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, but see, See, that's the thing. It's a 10-minute buffer. Each ripstick buys you 10 minutes. Yeah.
You got to do those calculations when you go to buy a house. You're like, all right, I'm 40 minutes out of the city, but I have a pool, so that makes it justifiable. Oh yeah, but I don't have, a foosball table, so people aren't going to come. So yeah, you need incentives.
Yeah. I was recently looking for a rental, and every single inspection I went to, I looked up Lido Cinemas in my phone, just being like, how far away from the Lido is my potential new home going to be?
Good.
Sorry, I'm not
Some
gonna
people
dox
want
myself.
family, and some people want Lido, and I think that's we can end the episode there. So thanks.
Yeah, that's
Some
good.
people want family.
Thanks, everybody.
Speaking of family, have a beautiful bubba.
Yeah.
You're a family man.
Yeah.
But you once lived in the trappings of share home living.
For ages, I moved out at 18. Like, as soon as I could get out, I was like, peace out, Mum and Dad. And I moved in with, like, 2 women in their 40s originally. I don't know why they picked me.
Why did you pick them?
Because it was the cheapest thing
Sure.
near uni, basically.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I just looked at a bunch of ads, or I entered a bunch of ads. And they just like, yeah, sure. Because the room was tiny. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
They knew they weren't going to get, like, a confident person.
Yeah.
Someone with self-respect in that tiny little, like, it was the size of this table. It was insane. It was just like it was their office that they turned into a little, room.
Yeah.
And so I think they worked out, like, a uni student would put up with this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
right.
I did. So I just had, like, a little mattress. I think it was on the floor, and a little desk, and I was so happy to be. I was like, I've moved out of home. And then I lost my job like a month after I moved into that place, and I was like, oh no, how am I going to pay for this? And essentially what I did was, I've worked at every restaurant on Lygon Street. I would get a job on the Friday, I'd work all weekend, make just enough to cover rent, pay for rent that month, and then just quit. And then 3 weeks later, I'd go to another restaurant, work the 3-day shifts like 3 days over the weekend, and then just quit and then pay. So I did that like 5 times. I think there's like 5 restaurants I've worked at around Lygon Street.
Did you not think I could keep one job and continually pay rent?
I think because I was trying to find a proper job, like
Sure,
a good
gotcha.
job, and also they suck and they don't pay very well. And it was all cash under the table, and I
Lygon Street? No.
Yeah, and actually there was a restaurant that was so used to people doing that they didn't pay you at the end of the shift. They pay you the week after you did the next week's shift. I'm like, damn it, I'm not the only one who does this. Because it just, like, they're crappy. There was such crappy jobs. And then I eventually found like a job working in childcare that I did for like 4 years.
Sure.
And that was like, the whole incentive of quitting was find a better job. You got to find a better job. You're forced to, because otherwise I would have just stayed in the restaurant for, infinity.
Right.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I moved. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I lived on and off in America, but what happened in America, I went to LA because a friend I met during Comedy Festival, he lived there, and I stayed in his place in Hollywood Hills, and I became part of like his entourage. Have you seen Entourage?
I've seen snippets.
I've watched the Entourage movie trailer like 80 times.
Yeah, that's it. That's the series.
Great.
If you watch the series, what happens is, it's true that there's like one person who's sort of rich and famous, they're blowing up, and then there's this entourage, or these people who orbit them, and they just kind of like live in their house, and they take their laundry, down to the laundry mat.
You do the bidding.
Yeah, so I just kind of like, and cook breakfast, like I'd make breakfast for him and whoever was, hanging out that day. And so this happens a lot in America, is that one person blows up, and then all these sort of leeches, I was one of them, just sort of like surround them and become sort of like yes men and just do their little things, and they're just like, and it's sort of like they're not paying you.
Yeah.
It's this sort of casual agreement of like, yeah, you get to come to red carpet events.
Yes.
You get to like drive my BMW to pick up, my dog from the vet, that sort of thing. And so I lived with him on and off for, maybe maybe a year total, but I'd go over for a couple of months a year while I was renting in Melbourne and just live in the Hollywood Hills, drive his BMW to take him to an event, drop him off at a red carpet. And that was amazing. But he was away one week and I had the Hollywood Hills house to myself. And I just thought, this actually feels empty. Like, this is not my house. It's not my car. I can't bring someone. I can't date someone and go, hey, like my. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get a partner out of like. I get to hang out with this famous person.
Cool way to avoid rent, though. That's
you just kind of have to do little, tasks around the house, little errands for them.
What was the best and worst of the tasks?
I mean, I guess maybe like holding his bags when he was like on TV was actually fine, because like I'd go to Disney Studios, like I'd go into Disney and I actually got to sort of absorb the industry and I got to learn. It felt like an internship. Just like you hold the bags and you write a joke or two for him, and so I wrote jokes for him while he was doing a Disney show, a Netflix show. I got into CBS studios. I got to walk around and see where Seinfeld was shot. So access to things was dope. Like you actually got to have access to the Hollywood world. I think at one point, like I stole, not stole, but like I got one of those like golf carts around Warner Brothers Studios. And I just like drove. I was just like, oh my god! I was like low riding around Warner Brothers Studios, going, this is amazing. So access was the best thing. I think the worst was, I think it was maybe like just, I don't know, walking his dogs and picking up his dog's poop, like that sort of stuff. But actually like that, because I love animals, so I enjoy the dogs. But cleaning the house and things like that.
It's almost like you're kind of renting part of his life, to bring the analogy into it, because like you don't own anything within this. I guess you don't own the things that he has or what you're doing with him. You're just like being a service person.
Exactly. I was totally doing that. And also just like this awkward moment around like mealtime when he's like, all right, I'm gonna order some pizza, and I have to just to go like, oh, do you want me to chip in, where he knows I'm pro. He knows I'm not gonna, no, I got it, man. It's sort of like the food's on him. It's like food and board is on him. But if he asks a favor, like I do it. I'm trying to think if there's anything I really didn't want to do. I guess I was just so excited just to do it all. Like, I'll walk the dogs. Yeah, man, I'll pick your laundry up.
Just had to like not have your own life, I guess.
Exactly. You're in service of their career.
But it's so real, because you see so many artists, even YouTubers, like they're just surrounded by all these people following them around. You're like, who are these people? What are they even
YouTube
doing?
houses, don't they? And TikTok houses.
Where it's like, ridiculous.
I think one person is actually paying the rent and everyone else there is like just making content in the house.
There's now companies that will bring influencers together. They'll pay for the house. But they take commissions from the brand deals.
Insane.
That's ridiculous.
It's a hard one as well, because you might earn enough that you can be in Hollywood Hills, but not enough to have people on payroll. But you want to bring your friends with you to let them get the opportunities and maybe shake a hand or two.
Yeah, it's insane though that you can kind of get access to this lifestyle. Like I was living an amazing lifestyle.
Yes.
Like, got to go first class to places, and like you really are just borrowing their high class life, fine dining restaurants, and doing all the like famous person stuff. I don't know what level celebrity he was at the time, but he's on a hit Netflix show now. Like he's a big deal now, and I was sort of part of that come up. And it's hard to, I guess when you're younger, like an internship is great because you're like, I'll sleep on a couch, whatever. Or, I had a nice room in his house, but I would have slept on a couch, you know what I mean? And these TikTokers are like, oh my God, I get to live in a mansion with other cool young people and just make content all day. That's great, but there is a cutoff point where you're just like, all right, I should own something. I should own a car. I should own something. And I just didn't, I didn't have any of my own money. I was just, just coasting on that. So at some point you have to say, all right, I've got the experience now. I need you got to utilize it for your own career. Otherwise, there are people who are just trapped in that, who are just like, I'm just what do you do? I live on old mate's couch.
Yeah.
I live in the spare room. I live in the bungalow.
Yeah.
And I just do stuff. I just do errands, and they're just friends. But there are people who are like that.
Well, it seems like that's still half of Hollywood. I remember I worked on a cruise ship and
Right.
I was DJing, and these girls came up to me, and they were all from California.
Yeah.
And they were asking me if I could get them free drinks, and I said, no, I can't do that. But
I'm a DJ. I only do free drugs.
where do you think we're at? We're on a cruise ship. I'm playing Pitbull in the clean version of Pitbull.
I'm playing the clean version.
He barely swears. Like,
I can't get you a soda water.
no. And they were shocked by that. But then one of them was cool. One of them was actually down to earth, and she was showing me the rest of their Instagrams. And they've all got blue ticks, and they're all followed by famous people.
Right.
But they couldn't afford drinks in the club. And that was the kind of life they're living. Because realistically, you're on a cruise ship vacation. You're not doing that level that you're posting to your Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
They would be in France or something. They'd be in they'd be somewhere really fancy.
Or in Mark
Fashion
Cuban's
Week.
yacht or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. But that it is interesting. Like, you can finagle status.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I've got some status, like, from this blue tick or from these famous people. I'm like famous adjacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's a whole world of those people who definitely, like, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is interesting, like, because that stuntman, he lived in a shitty little trailer
Yes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But he spends most of his time at, Leo's house. And that was so interesting to me. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that. You're driving the star's car. You're at his house most of the time. You're hanging out. You're drinking his, booze. You're eating from his fridge. Like, you're actually, and they're like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't bother them. And it's a companionship. And it's just like, it's amazing that I kind of got to have that. And if anything, maybe I should have cut it off a bit sooner and spread my own wings and to fly. But I guess I did. I think at about 26 or 27, I moved to New York.
Okay.
And I lived with 8 people. It was
Wow.
like a shoot.
Especially in New York, that would have been tiny.
It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was 5 of us because everyone had the other 2 housemates had partners, and they were always around. And then that was insane. And they were all musical theatre people as well. So them trying to make it and going to auditions all the time and
Singing and dancing in the lounge room.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Yeah. So and I was just doing YouTube twice a week. I was like, I got to do vlogs 2 times a week, and I was doing stand-up gigs around New York, and that was me trying to just go out on my own. And said, oh, do you want to come work on the show in LA? Cool. And I had to say no. I was like, no, I'm going to stay in New York and try. Because I knew that if I did that, I'd be living at his house and I wouldn't be getting my own career online.
Yeah, hotel riding again.
Doing that, I think this is where kind of the topic of this pod has gone to. You're essentially couch surfing, right?
Yeah.
You were just doing that. You were kind of doing errands to pay for your couch surf.
Yeah.
And the contrast, I'm wondering how you felt about the contrast between that and then a New York place with 5 other people.
Yeah, rags to riches.
Riches to rags. Yeah. That's my story of my life. Riches to rags.
That's what the book should have been called, man.
Yeah,
That's all
exactly.
I'm saying.
I've got another one in me, I'm sure. But then that was, I think it was, I think I was just so happy to be I have ownership of my career and ownership of my life, because I did have that moment when I had the Hollywood Hills house to myself for a week. I was just like, this isn't mine. This feels empty. I can't invite my own friends over. I can't really have. I'm attached to someone else's life, and so New York at least was like, oh man, I have all this autonomy. I can just go anywhere in the city anytime I want. I'm renting the place. That was amazing, and I was close to just staying there, but I think it was it was kind of tough with money to be a stand-up there. So I came back to do festivals, and then I think I just kept going back to LA instead. So
nice. No longer. I imagine moving out of It was like moving out of like a parents for a second
Yeah,
time.
pretty much,
Like
yeah.
you were kind of like gaining autonomy, like moving out of your parents for the
Yeah.
first time. Then
Yeah,
you
that
got
was
another
me.
pseudo dad.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to live with my parents anymore. That's lame. I'm going to live with my Hollywood parents.
They have a nicer couch to sleep on.
Exactly. I'm going to go to red carpet events and stuff.
I do understand. I can empathize with that for sure. I used to edit for YouTubers.
Right.
And it was so fun to be a part of that and look at their lifestyle and be there getting my small salary.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's always going to be that small salary, and you're
Yeah.
never going to be in front of the camera as them.
Unless you make that decision to say no, because it's hard to say no to a good thing.
100%.
It's like, you know, maybe it's a 6 out of 10 lifestyle, and then you go, I don't want that. And then you got to have a 0 out of 10 for a while. You're like, I don't have any work. I don't have anything. Man, I had a 6 out of 10. I just gave up a 6 out of 10, you know. And then you go, no, I've done that, so I have the opportunity to get an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 lifestyle.
Because you know you can always go back realistically to the 6 out of 10 once you've had it on the resume.
Yeah.
You feasibly can get that again.
Yes.
But the 8 out of 10, it's almost going to be, the chances of getting it could be diminished by living in the 6 out of 10 for too long.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So you kind of have to make that decision. I think that's the same about moving out from parents and moving out from a good arrangement with a friend or whatever it is. But yeah, and I think that also happens with friends I know who, like, I'm 35 now, and I was getting to the point where it's like, I can't live with housemates anymore. I've got to I've got to find my own little place. And I did. I found a place in Melbourne by myself, and I was so miserable and lonely that I moved in with a friend after that. So it's so funny. You're just caught between like this whole, I've got to be an independent, person. And then you're like, yeah, but that's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just got to find, I guess you got to find what's right for you. But that was the last person I lived with before I met my wife. She wasn't my wife when I met her. It took a bit of time, but
No judgment here.
yeah. But yeah, I was living with my friend Matt, and that was great. Like, that was actually like, all right, I could, we could do this for a while, and I'd be cool with that because at least it was a friend.
Yes.
So I think random housemates is the harder one to swallow. When
Could
you're a bit
you
older.
settle an argument for us then on that? Because we've been having an argument around what are we trying to say?
Like, what point does sharehousing expire? And I'm like,
what's the cutoff age?
I think you always need it as an option. It's unfair to rule it out because sometimes life just puts you in that situation. I think it'd be unfair to judge people who fall into needing a share house.
But what is the cutoff age for share housing?
Well, that's the thing. I think it doesn't matter because it's like these Hollywood people, there's people who are like 60 who still have just their mates living in their mansion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there is a cutoff age other than it's just like, what do you actually want from your life, career, etc.
Okay.
Without the entourages around, I imagine they'd feel very lonely as well.
I mean, we all end up in share houses eventually. They're called retirement homes. So there is no cutoff age, you idiots.
To be fair, my dream is to be... No, because my dream is to be in a retirement home. If you've ever been to a good one, mimosa hour at 4, bowls at 5, and sleep by 6.
Community, activity.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure contraceptives are out as well.
They're for sure.
Yeah, they are. 100%. Yeah.
And if you don't like some people that you live with, odds are they're going to die shortly.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. Wait them out. Yeah.
That's a good take.
Yeah. So there's no age limit. It's whatever the arrangement is, because I can imagine, particularly during like lockdown, how bad it was for people who just like lived alone in an apartment.
Yep.
So you need that social life, and I think there's like an age where you don't I think you got to like the people you're with. I think you got to have a friendship, proper relationship.
For sure.
I think there's something tough about just cycling through new housemates.
Yeah.
When you're older, because you're like, all right, I want to lock someone in some kind of stability. So I think there's a cutoff to like the like transient nature. Like after about, maybe 30, 35, it's like find someone you like living with and stick with them.
Yeah. Let your 20s be
an
an era of finding the right housemates or finding a group of people that you would ideally live with, I would say.
It's almost dating, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I'm sure my housemates now, I'd live with them for the next couple decades, as I'm sure you would with Lockie if you needed to.
Decades is strong.
Decades is, and I did make a big call just then, but so far so good, right?
That'll bring me out the 40, champ. So now that you've starting to build your name pretty prominently, would you bring coattail riders with you to your Hollywood estate?
I think about this sometimes because I'm like, would I do that lifestyle? Because occasionally I do need something if I'm filming something.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, I need a cameraman, but I don't want to, pay them full cameraman rates.
Yeah.
Why don't I get someone, to do an internship with me? But then I kind of feel guilty about that because I know to some degree that, like, your employer or the person or your friend or whoever is like giving you that internship is going to keep you on as long as you're willing to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't have like hey, all right, you've done exactly 365 days as an intern. I'm going to start paying you. They're just like, yeah, you'll just keep doing this,
Keep
right?
chopping out. I might pay you an extra $5 extra each time, or maybe your grilled burger can be upgraded with avocado.
Yeah, exactly. So I maybe if I had some clear parameters,
Sure.
I'd be like, hey, you can stay here while you're getting your, your shit together, while you're doing auditions, so maybe if I had a clear cutoff for them, but I wouldn't be like, yeah, just stay at my place, whatever. By the way, can you go get my laundry from that? I don't think I would do that.
Set those boundaries.
Yeah, it's just me personally, but
Yeah.
I think I would like to help someone, step up in their career, but yeah, I don't know what I would require from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a contractual thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, or just like you got this place for 2 months.
Yeah.
Do all the auditions, get, find something, or you got to, whatever. And then at the end of that 2 months, you got to go to Airbnb,
Yeah.
But also with the family now, like I got,
Yes.
So that's a discussion with my wife. But she's a painter. So if we had a place that had a studio, I'm sure there'd be a discussion of like, can we let some like French dude stay in our, studio? I'd be like, why do you want a French guy to...
Specifically French. Why does he have to have tan skin and long brown hair?
Yeah, he's got beautiful blue eyes. Is that part of being an artist? Yeah.
This is a weird resume.
That's the nice thing about being an artist is that you actually empathize with other up-and-coming artists.
Yeah.
And so you want to kind of, help them out. And like if you can, like that first part of being a comedian or even a painter or whatever is like, you have no money, you have no income. So if anyone can, be your patron, if anyone can be like, don't worry about money, don't worry about food, just make stuff. And then once you have a body of work and people start paying you, then you're good and you're on your way. But how long that takes, who knows?
Yes.
So and also when you're willing to go, all right, I'm making a bit of money, I'm going to start paying for my own life.
Yeah.
It's scary because you're like, well, what if I stop making money? Then I can't, you go back to the drawing board.
So you kind of do got to keep it in the same realm as an internship. It's like, you got this internship for 3 months. After 3 months, we might keep you. But it's got that end date to it.
Yeah, totally. So to answer the question, maybe I would take someone on, but I also don't know what I could offer them, like that, my apartment's full. We got a kid and a dog now.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
If I may, though, just by looking at your pretty detailed resume, decorated resume, you have an air of a person that's hustled very hard.
Right.
You've got books out. You've also got specials out, and not just specials that are recorded in your local theatre, but at the Elmore. Big venues, which is a financial thing to fork out, but knowing and believing in yourself, you've put in the work to forge a career. I think there's a lot of things you can impart onto somebody if you were to have that patronage.
Yeah, well, some of that's my agent. Like, some of that's my agent, like, believing in me and paying for the special ahead of time, assuming he was going to sell it.
Wow.
And so he, he took that on and just went, yeah, we'll sell this. That'll be fine. So that was his money. I wouldn't have been able to afford the Enmore. So it is kind of like, yeah, I do get it. If I had, excess money, like every dollar I get either goes into like my family or kind of expanding my own thing. Like I'll go, oh, I want to do a tour here, so I'll spend my own money doing there, or I'll buy more equipment. So at the moment, I like to keep putting money into expanding my resources and my equipment and my experiences and taking trips and that sort of stuff. So I guess like putting money back into the business, to use that annoying phrase. But if it was at a point where I'm like, you know what, I've got enough, I can put some money aside to like pay for someone's festival show and just say, hey, I'm going to pay your registration, I'm going to pay your marketing. All you have to do is rock up and put on a show, and then if you sell enough tickets to pay me back, great. If not, don't worry about it. I'd love to do that. That would be cool, because it's just anything you can to take the financial pressure off an artist is amazing.
Especially in Melbourne, I think it's a little bit, it's a competitive community, but also a tight-knit one. If you want other people to succeed, really, you want your friends to come with you. That's why we love doing this. Because we get to meet other creatives. Because otherwise, Melbourne, people do tend to stick in their own lanes as much as it's tight-knit online.
Well, I think to some degree, like when you start out, there's a sense of like, competitiveness. But then once you all settle down and once you're kind of making a living, you realize, hey, this is my community. These are my There's a point where the comedians that you're working with, maybe it was about 5 or 6 years in, it was just like, hey, we're all working. We look out for each other. You throw me gigs, I'll throw you gigs. And my wife has that with her artist community. They're visual artists, painters, sculptors, and they give each other advice on applications and, hey, you should do this exhibition, or don't go to that, gallery, or go to this one. This is great. Because they realize after a while, as long as we're all eating, as long as we cover our rent, you don't need to be ruthless. Like it's actually, when the money goes away, you have community. You have people who can help you out. So I worked that out after a while of just like, I don't have to be, just such an individual and in such a like a lone dog mindset. It's so dumb. I think it's the more you have support in your own industry, it's fine, and then it becomes, if someone gets something that you really want, then that's just a bit of fire in your belly going, that reignites the ambition. But it's not a be all and end all. It's not like they're the only ones who are gonna make a living and I'm not. It's like we're fine. We've all made it. It's just now it's actually just the fun stuff is seeing what you can make of it.
Because you're right, you do develop your own core audience, and no one's stealing from each other's core audiences. Like, how would you even do that? Even if you're a comedian who are slandering other comedians, I would then go click on those comedians who are slandering, see what they're about.
I think that's sometimes a device sometimes online, like fake drama.
I guess so.
Like
should we?
You should really pick someone, like, I don't know.
This guy?
I thought Friendly Geordies, he's got way more subscribers. You guys should hit him up, or I don't know.
I thought you were saying you've already started one with him, but he's a scary man. He's so articulate. He would pick us.
I know, he would destroy us immediately.
Yeah, but would his followers subscribe to you guys? Probably not.
They're
pretty loyal.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We'll work on this. We'll come with a short list. We'll email it to you.
Exactly. Who are the other YouTubers?
But to kind of bring it back, I guess, you putting money into like other artist festival stuff, for example, or pouring money into like your experiences and your stuff. I think that is, at the end of the day, a much better use of money than buying a home at Digger's Rest, would you say?
Right. Well, my wife and I just thought, what do we actually want to do with our time? Do we just want to like grind it out so that in 30 years we can say, haha, we own this place?
Yes.
Digger's Rest, baby.
Place of dreams.
But
no one else here.
Or do we want to spend the next 30 years doing what we love, like making cool stuff and sharing it and being in these communities? So Akmal said that to me once. He's like, all right, I give you a house today, but you got to work for a telecom company in an office,
Yeah.
in a box for the next 30 years. Do you take it? I'm like, no, I like being a comedian. He's like, then just don't worry about that stuff.
Cool.
So, because so that's
cool.
and it's also, we got to remember, a lot of this financial stuff isn't under our control. There's this whole thing online about mindset. If you have the right mindset, you'll be a millionaire. It's also partly like, it's like saying, if you have the right mindset as a surfer, you'll always catch a wave. It's like, man, the tide might be out.
You might be in a bay.
You might be just sitting in the sand. Like, it's just, it's the same with finances. It's like the economy and, like tax breaks and all there are so many wages. Like, there are so many factors that we can't control that determine how much money you have in the bank. And so, yes, there are things that you can do that are sensible to, like, make money, save money, the type of job you get, getting degrees. But also sometimes, like, degrees aren't as useful as they used to be, or the degree you got all of a sudden isn't valuable. So there are things that change in the world that, just remember, you're just like, you're a little monkey in this huge system that is constantly changing and it's in flux and it's so volatile. And you're there going, but I did all the right things. I saved all my money and I still can't buy anything. It's like, it's not always your fault. So the whole like, if you just have this mindset, you'd be rich is such bullshit.
I think it's nice for us to hear that as well from as an upcoming artist. Because that is a parental concern as well as it is probably a friendship group concern, where you see friends having kids and buying homes and you think, should we be there? And as artists, you know the paychecks we get in the early stages. So that is genuinely quite nice to hear.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
I would like to conclude potentially by maybe giving some parting words to other upcoming artists, and also spruik the heck out of what's going on in your world.
Please. And there's a Fringe show coming up.
You got a whole heap happening. You got a manager. Big deal.
Big deal. Do you want to manage us too?
Also, speaking of the patronage thing.
I keep umming and ahhing about getting a Patreon as well. But then are you on Patreon?
Not yet. No. We're still early days. I think we're in month 5 of doing this podcast.
You know what? The only reason I didn't do Patreon is because, like, I don't want to have to have, like, deadlines for my content.
Yes.
Because sometimes I'm just, like, I'm traveling and I just can't make that content.
Exactly,
So, but I think you can just have a free Patreon now.
You can, just as a community-based type Discord server.
Maybe that's smart. But anyway, to plug my stuff, Melbourne Fringe coming up. That's me, Simon Taylor and Friends, other Fringe acts coming and doing spots. And I'll do all the festivals next year. Cool. And I'm going to, release a book with my wife called Things No One Tells You About Babies. Ooh. So she's going to do all the illustrations and I've written all the jokes. So
brilliant.
So I got a few things going on.
Yeah. You sure do.
Yeah.
Shout out Jimmy Fallon as well. Look at the big dogs now. What's up, Jimmy? Joel, take us home.
Thank you for coming on. Please, you can check us out at Sharehouse. Oh my
God.
Just so you know,
my God.
Jimmy follows me on Instagram, so we'll collaborate and maybe, you can actually shout out Jimmy. He might actually see this.
Email us, sharehousepod@gmail.com, Instagram, TikTok, sharehousepod. Hey, and make sure to tell someone you love them today.
Bye.
I love you.
Oh.